Get ready, guys. It is on Periscope and Mixer and Facebook. Will D Live catch? Yes. And YouTube. What's up, guys? I'm streaming now. It is Wednesday, April 29th, right? 2020. Hake is live. Get ready for a show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Hake Report. The Hake Report.
It happened again.
La la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, sorry about that, guys. The stream dropped briefly there yet again. Just like yesterday, but actually not quite like yesterday. It seemed to catch back on right away. So, sorry guys, the stream dropped and then it came back on. Psh. Brandon M says, fat host. Oh man. Were you aware of it? You're probably not even aware of it, huh? What's that?
After you said it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we continue to have technical difficulties on my show. But once we get rolling, once the computer gets warmed up or whatever, or cooled down, whatever's going on, then we have a relatively smooth show. I'm online on all platforms I see, according to Restream. But, what a mess. So anyways, good afternoon, actual time, Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time, really. Hake, thank you, Hot Computer Smell. Appreciate that. And thank you guys for the support, the lemons, the follows, the subscriptions, the hosting from Dark Side of the Bear. What? By the way, we are working on, I may be having an appearance soon on Dark Side of the Bear. What's D Live channel some afternoon coming up soon, all right? Official date to be announced. Am I off sync for anybody? Is my words coming in sync with the, can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Oh, these dumb rush hour quotes. Do you speak any English? Am I in sync? Can you hear me? Are my words lining up? Nick, could you test it? Or check with the earphones or whatever? Are my words lining up with my mouth coming out in the same time? If I'm in sync, hit 1, press 1. If I'm out of sync, press 2. But some people are saying it's good. Thank you, David. Looking forward to seeing you on TKR again, buddy, says Beard the Butcher. Ah, appreciate that. Yeah, I got to get back on the crypto report with Asmodor and Beard and all you guys. That'd be fun. So anyways, some people are hitting 2. Hot Computer Smell and Winning Smile, and Asmodor says 2. Wow, and he wouldn't lie. Nor would Hot Computer Smell. I don't know Winning Smile that much. But, yeah. Hopefully words will be in sync soon. Get a job says yes. Your words are lining up and everything's good, says my intern man. Appreciate that, Will. So, I have quite a bit to get to. I will be getting to your calls. You can call in 888-775-3773. And I will get to your calls. Appreciate you guys who have already called in. Guys and gals. Thank you. But first, let me just tell you. Oh, this is sad. My kindergarten teacher died. And supposedly she died of coronavirus. She must have been, I felt that she was old when I had her. When I was 5 years old going to kindergarten. Dang. By the way, is that a German word, kindergarten? Mrs. Gustafson. I think I can dox her, right? Is that bad to name her? Mrs. Gustafson was... And I'm surprised that we could pronounce that. Mrs. Gustafson. According to an email from former teacher staff. She died Sunday night, April 26th, of COVID-19, according to this person who's sent out this notice. And of course, somebody said a celebration of life will be held sometime in the future when we are able to gather again. I don't like that term, celebration of life. I would prefer either funeral or service. But nowadays, it seems like people are so, what is it, weak or soft or emotional or female minded that they have to turn it into like a celebration of life when the person is dead. I don't like that, but I really liked Mrs. Gustafson. I remember she asked a question. She asked a question in class about, you guys have this or that, something like that. And one guy said across the room, one of my classmates, I ain't. And I think it was a white guy. I had whites, Hispanics, Asians, and 2 Jews in my class. One boy named Israel, and he was a twin. He had a twin sister. And it was interesting. They were, I don't know, it was fun. But he said, I ain't. And she's like, who said ain't? There's no such thing as ain't. But she was not an angry teacher. She was not an apparently, obviously angry woman. She was respected. We loved her. It was fun. We would get milk every day after school or during lunch. You know, those little milk carton things. But on Fridays, we would get chocolate milk, and those were good. She was more logical and manly than this guy that I'm going to tell you about, in a good way, manly in a good way, than Jimmy Carter. And I don't know if this woman was a liberal or a conservative, but she was probably conservative by today's standards, right? But Jimmy Carter, I have this meme about him that was making me chuckle during the show intro music, which I apologize to you guys who love this song, including myself, and Trevor, who made the song, not to be broken up and interrupted by a stream. That's bad. But show this picture, Joel. It's a meme of Jimmy Carter talking about violence against women, and it has this guy with the old face, and he's looking up like he's inspired or something ridiculous. I don't know. It just doesn't look right that way. But this is a meme that I came across on Pinterest, right? Liberal outlet, liberal platform. Liberal as in leftist commie. And this is supposedly a quote attributed to Jimmy Carter, and I don't know, there's no proof that this was a real quote, but he is a liberal. He's a so-called Christian, right? Jimmy Carter is a former president, by the way. He came in before, he was a one-term president. He was the worst president until Obama, according to what the boomers tell me. And I tend to believe the boomers. They've been wrong, but they may be right about this. But he says, the abuse of women, or he supposedly said, the abuse of women and girls is the most pervasive and unaddressed human rights violation on earth. That's Jimmy Carter. Hashtag violence against women. But that's not true. Cassie J. Did stream cut out again? Press F. Is it back on? The stream should be back on. Man, what the heck? Dude, we need to get you a new computer or something, says Raphael. Man, I know, I agree. Say F for farcical stream. Well, we're back. Did you guys get the Jimmy Carter quote? He said something dumb. Okay, we're back on. I apologize. Brandon M. repeats. Fat host. You know, man, what a mess. Hake, you need to tell these fools to treat you right, dropping out like a crackhead, says Christine. Sync is fixed at least, says Dark Side of the Bear. What? Yeah, really. Normally this doesn't happen once we get rolling. So, I don't know. Do you know how to prevent it? You think maybe, Joel?
No, I think it has a lot to do with the connection, with the internet connection. Bill gave us an explanation.
That's what Bill was suggesting.
Yeah, but
the engineer.
Yeah, we're trying to. Oh, well, I can't say
I have a robot voice again, supposedly. Do I have that slight echo on me?
You should not have an echo.
Okay.
Yeah, that
press
should
2 if I have
fixed.
echo. Press 1 if I have no echo. Should be fixed.
Let me see. Yeah, that should be fixed. But
Dropping out like Bernie Sanders. Anyways, yeah.
Bill is working on stuff though. It's with this whole lockdown thing. It's just complicated. But he's in here every day trying to work on it, people. So
Yeah.
we're trying to. Well, not we, but Bill.
Bill is the greatest engineer on this side of heaven, right? or is he? I don't know. He seems smart. Okay, so yeah, Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer and a Democrat, and one of those Christian leftist Democrats, which is it's a lie. You can't be a Democrat and a Christian, right? You can barely even be a Republican and then a Christian. I don't know. Most Republicans are not real Republicans, and most Christians are not real Christians. But anyways, and all Democrats are not real Christians, right? Or if they are, then they're not Democrats for long. They repent. The color is off. You look white. So what a mess. Yeah, the computers and the internet have COVID. They're dying of COVID, like my kindergarten teacher. Another thing that I learned from my kindergarten teacher who died, she said, and it rang in my ears because of this COVID thing, the one you touch is the one you take. When they would hand out candy or, chocolates or whatever. I don't know if they had handed out chocolates, but there would be like candy. They would pass around candy. The one you touch is the one you take. That way you don't put your germs on one and then put it back down. The one you touch is the one you take. Don't touch a bunch of them. Just touch one. So that was something that I learned in kindergarten. Isn't there a saying like everything you needed in life you learned in kindergarten? It may be true because another thing that they taught in kindergarten, Mrs. Gustafson, no me first. She was laying down the rules. No me first, because there were people like me first. Anyways, back to Jimmy Carter. If you guys, let me just show this quote once again, and I'll read it fast. Joel. It says, quote, "The abuse of women and girls is the most pervasive and unaddressed human rights violation on earth," according to a quote attributed to Jimmy Carter I can't confirm or deny. And that's according to this violence against women thing. And hashtag violence against women. But as we all know, that's not the case. The violence is against the men and the boys. Case in point that I got from this the Red Pill movie, right? Documentary came out a few years ago by a feminist or a former feminist, Cassie J. She interviewed this woman who is a female MRA, men's rights advocate. What do they call themselves? I'm blanking on what they call themselves. Honey badgers. This woman, Karen Strawn, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show at least a couple of times, made the point. Remember that hashtag bring back our girls? Are you old enough to remember that? I don't know if Joel ever saw that hashtag, but it was, in the last few years, hashtag bring back our girls. Okay. And Michelle Obama had this sad face, and she was holding this, sign that said hashtag bring back our girls. And all these female Hollywood movie stars and singers and stupid people, Salma Hayek, I think, they would hold up these signs that said hashtag bring back our girls. And that's a reference to these Nigerian schoolgirls who were, they were kidnapped, right, by Boko Haram. And Boko Haram is an African associate or that pledged allegiance to ISIS. It's a terrorist organization, right? Boko Haram. They like ISIS. They're Muslim radicals, right? And they kidnapped Nigerian schoolgirls. And they're pretending, the liberals, the liberal media and the liberals in the government and Hollywood, pretending that it's an attack on female education. But they didn't cover all these stories leading up to this incident, Boko Haram, of Boko Haram massacring schoolboys, men, massacring them, killing them. Violence against men and boys. They didn't commit violence against these schoolgirls for the most part. They just kidnapped them. So isn't that interesting? So it's the violence against the men. And then, when women commit violence against men, for one, they can't really do as much damage, so you cut them some slack, I guess. But for two, they commit violence against the children. Verbal abuse. They break their spirits, impose themselves on, as Jesse Lee Peterson talks about all the time. He covers it better than me, right? And he knows better than me because he's dealt with people for decades. Women, men, and children. And all the studies of Jesse Lee Peterson show that the women are more violent. It's just the men are more effective with their violence, so they are able to kill more. So, what a mess. That's Jimmy Carter being phony, or some phoniness attributed to Jimmy Carter. Anyways, before I get to calls, and hopefully, fingers crossed. Is that a bad thing? Is that a pagan tradition? Crossing fingers. That my stream stays healthy, but I promised this yesterday and didn't get to it. The difference between JLP and most Jew blamers, Jew critics, Jew haters, whatever they are. I forgot to mention this yesterday. The difference is y'all, and I say y'all, right? Most have no grace. It's not out of love for Jews that you guys are saying these criticisms of the Jews. And some of the criticisms are accurate, right? But in some cases, you pretend like, oh, it's out of love for my white brothers, or it's out of love for my black brothers, or my Mexican brothers, or Christian brothers. But it's posturing. Some of you guys have gone so mentally ill about this issue, that you make up things that aren't true about Jesse or about me, especially about Jesse. And then you assume that we're saying stuff that we're not saying. I'm talking to the people that anytime the topic of the Jews comes up, they go way off into their tangents. It's crazy. Plus, you give people the creeps. So I'm trying to help you. And even if Jesse's wrong about this Israel is our friend stuff, yet you'll notice that in his spirit he stays right. He doesn't get malicious towards anybody and doesn't get defensive, even though some of you guys pretend that he does, and all that. And you may have more factual so-called truth, but because you don't have the spirit of truth, meaning like God, grace, whatever, you end up lying and smearing Jesse. And that's why I am so resistant to go along with you guys. Yet you call yourselves Christians, some of you. So I see you as evil people trying to fight other evil people, which are the Jews. And evil can't take down evil. And if I'm wrong about you, or if I'm wrong, what I'm saying does not apply to you, but yet you are a Jew critic, that's fine. Then you're not offended by my words. Right? Right? Do any of you know anyone who tells the truth about the Jews out of love for the Jews? People complain that the way that Jesse Lee Peterson speaks about blacks, Mexicans, Muslims, women, whites, is the same way that the Jew critics talk about the Jews, but I don't buy that. Because there's ego involved, and the worst ego involved, to be honest, is especially, like, in my mind, from the women, the cringy, female, outspoken right-wingers. Barf! But this is why I can't stomach some of the intellectuals that are put forward leading this movement. And I hate to name them because I don't have anything against them. It's just that I'm a little turned off by him currently. This guy, E. Michael Jones. And the reason why I'm turned off by him is because I was friends with one of the Jew critics. Really, I don't know if I would call him a Jew blamer, but he, like, word for word quoted E. Michael Jones and passed it off as his own thoughts, and it was so weird. And yet he was thinking that he was thinking for himself. Because when you hear something that sounds right, you repeat it. You're thinking that you're thinking for yourself because it sounds right to you. But it's coming off forced. Does that make sense? And E. Michael Jones may be a really good guy. Maybe one day we'll, I'm sure I'll give him a chance, right? Very good too. Full of logos. Oh, that word. So, anyways, I'm going to get to calls, but you know what? I better get to calls. And then I want to cover this, a little brief movie review, because I watched the movie Hoaxed, a documentary about the media hoaxes, right? Hoaxed by Mike Cernovich. And some of you have your criticisms of him. And not all of them are wrong, but I like this guy. Anyways, I will get to that. Yeah, I'm not, Alice in the YouTube chat says, E. Michael Jones just quotes the Bible regarding Jews. Nothing wrong or hateful about that. I didn't say he was hateful. I said that there was a guy pushing and quoting like word for word without even referencing him. It was like, pfft. And then I heard him say word for word what I just heard my friend say in some video, right? And I'm like, oh gosh. It just sounds so phony. You'll notice that I don't, I'm very resistant to quoting like Jesse word for word because it just comes off so phony. Have you noticed that? There's people who will quote Jesse word for word, and you kind of want to roll your eyes, or they'll quote the Bible word for word. They'll talk this Christianese word for word. Well, that's what I'm saying is coming out of the Jew critic stuff. Some of you are real, genuine people, and I like you, but some of it is a turnoff. Just FYI, helping you out. Caitlin, you're gross. Caitlin says, Jesse is Hake's Jesus. It's blanking gross. Effing gross. No, you're gross, Caitlin. Anyways, let me get to some calls, and then I'll get to this hoaxed thing. But thank you for joining. Thanks for the feedback. Adrian, out of Virginia, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. What's going on, James?
Not much. What's going on with you?
I'm hanging in here, man. I'm doing well, actually, to be quite frank with you. I don't ever have really bad days. Just
Right
when
on.
Joel gets on me, and then I gotta reevaluate myself.
I know.
But no, I was calling, man. I heard this thing today, man, and I was trying to get in with Jesse, but you're the next best thing, so I wanted to kind of,
Right on.
I was just trying to follow up. So, do you feel, or do you have any input on that? The fear now, because the guy who was listening to, he's from Virginia, but he went down to Georgia to kind of see how things were opening up and get an insight. And he tells me that no one's coming out, and that the fear is definitely for real. That people are not say afraid of the corona, but they're just afraid to get back to their lives. And I found it very interesting, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys because and somebody talked about it on Jesse's show. I was trying to piggyback on it a little bit, but. That people, he's of course, he's just down there for a day as of now, but he'll be there the rest of the week. But he's definitely claiming that people don't want to come out. They definitely are fearing coming out. They're fearing interacting with people. They're fearing, socializing and such like that. And I wanted to see what you thought about that, man. Do you think this fear is gonna? Because I guess what I'm trying to get to is, it's easy to manipulate people who are afraid.
Yeah.
If you're afraid, then you can establish socialism. You're afraid, then you can establish more abortion. You can because you're afraid, and you get sucked into thinking the government's going to help you all the time, and when we all know it's not. But I want to get your opinion on that. I want to see what your thoughts are on that. Like, do you think that that's a real thing that's happening right now, where people are really just kind of like, I don't want to go outside, blah blah. I don't want to go get a cheeseburger. No, not me. And you know what I mean? You feel me?
I think that I'm not surprised to hear that there's some people out there like that, but there's a lot of people who want to get out there. People going to the beach and all that stuff. People are eager to get back outside.
But do you think there's more? Obviously we don't know, but do you think there's more or less? Because this state just opened up, and he thought he would have saw people at the restaurants and people doing this, people mingling again. But as of right now, he says it's ghost town still. Like there's and obviously it's just been a couple of days, a few days now.
We'll
but
see,
he's
man.
Literally,
I guess as the word gets out, and as people, nobody knows what to believe anymore. And
Okay.
hopefully people are not trusting the media. Then that's
Well,
one
that's the
good thing
problem,
about
man.
that's one really good thing about Trump is he's constantly attacking the media rightly as liars. And so I think a lot of people are catching on to that. But as far as this
Yeah,
fear
doing-
thing, that's a sign that they're listening to the media.
All right. I mean,
So, yeah, I
hear
don't
you.
know.
It's just no. I mean, it's a hard one to swallow, man. I just find it very interesting because I deliver stuff and people are out and about for the most part, but I deliver in the country. But when I get to the city parts, bro, it's ghost town. Like
Yeah.
it's like nobody's out and about. Like right now, there's like 20 people in front of me out here in the little town that I deliver to. There's cars rolling up and down, but
I know.
that's just,
It's nice, but it's getting old. We need to get
All right.
back to work. Adrian, it's nice to hear from you, man. Take care.
yeah.
It's ridiculous. When somebody said, "Is blinking gross?" The Caitlyn girl, and I said, "You're gross." And then somebody said, "What are we in a playground?" Asmodor gave a diamond and said, "You and JLP are tops. We can disagree sometimes, no problem." Right on. Yeah. And it's funny. Like I remember seeing Asmodor in that Vice documentary at the Charlottesville thing, and he basically told the harsh truth of like the people in charge, a bunch of homosexuals and criminal N-words. It's funny, but it was true. And so what I'm telling you, like a lot of you guys are telling factual information, but you just have some ego behind it, and it's a turnoff. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. So Kid Combo 187 says, "Oh, won't you do this for me, son? If you can, ... I don't get it, man. But thank you for the diamond. And let me read a few of these super chats. Lin Yan Chin says, "Sorry for my mess, Joel Friday. I blat, and you are an amazing young man to read my mess." Isn't Lin Yan Chin younger than you? I don't know how old Lin Yan Chin is, but appreciate that. And I think he has see no evil monkey face on it, where the monkey covers his eyes. Let me just look closely. Oh no, it's a black baby. Anyways, Jib Jab, wait for it. Jib Jab says, "We live, baby." I think. Jib Jab says, "Hairs in sync," check mark. Eli Michael, love, God knows, or blue heart. Mark Hidalgo says, "Obama, worst president ever. Used to be Jimmy Carter. Not since Jimmy Carter." Not since Jimmy Carter. Yeah, Obama is the worst president ever. He's not the worst president since Jimmy Carter. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's a quote from, or a paraphrase at least, from Thomas Sowell, the black guy, but the decent black guy. Marcus Jones stinks, says, "Your computer needs to forgive its mama. Windows 95. Adaptable J says, "The children of Satan do not love the truth, and it is not in them. They have been turned over to reprobate minds." Yeah. And so many children of Satan. Jib Jab says, "Hake, you hear about the mayor of Grants, New Mexico, firing his manager for trying to stop him from reopening the city?" No, but that's good news. I appreciate mayors who want to reopen their cities. That's cool. 'Cause we have to. Hey, Swedish Smorgasbord on Twitch. Nice to see people active on Twitch. I'm streaming on 6 different platforms. Is that too many? That's cool. And Facebook, what's up to Facebook? Thank you guys for joining there too. That's nice. So let me review quickly this movie, Hoaxed. This Hoaxed documentary. It's an independent journalist Mike Cernovich, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show as well as The Fallen State. And he's actually guest hosted the Jesse Lee Peterson show back when I was producer. I guess that was 2017, 2016, something like that. He did an expose on the mainstream media, MSM, right? And MSM, by the way, MSM, short for mainstream media, is or was, according to, what was that, Project Veritas that exposed YouTube employees or Google employees? They wanted to use MSM as a word, a red flag type of word, where if users use it, MSM, then they must be right-wing trolls and they have to be suppressed. Well, they cover the suppression of the true free press, which is you, me, us, all of it, the people online. They cover that too a little bit in this Hoaxed documentary, which I recommend. Whatever you think of Mike Cernovich, a lot of you guys like him, respect him, and some of you may not. I don't know. I hear mixed reviews from some of you, but I for one respect him. This movie, by the way, was famously, I think a few weeks ago, banned off of Amazon, deleted from Amazon. It's no longer available from Amazon.com, the movie. The book is still on there. Maybe because of it makes Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, whom it names, and shows a picture of him, as his blog, Washington Post, his blog site, Washington Post, because he bought Washington Post, Jeff Bezos did, who has $100 billion or something like that, makes him look bad because he's a book burner. Amazon likes to ban Confederate paraphernalia, Confederate battle flag paraphernalia, and they like to ban a lot of stuff. They ban a lot of stuff. Book burners. They're worse than the Nazis. And by the way, something I learned from this documentary, Google and Google's parent company Alphabet, their top guy was maybe the top Hillary Clinton donor. Isn't that interesting? Google's top guy, Google Alphabet, was a Hillary Clinton donor. They funded this nonprofit, or he helped fund this nonprofit organization, so-called nonprofit, right? Nowadays, a lot of nonprofits are suspect. They are evil enemies of the country, right? A lot of organizations are, including a lot of corporations, actually. They funded a nonprofit dedicated to so-called fighting fake news. And fake news was a term that just exploded, I guess, after Trump was elected. Fighting so-called mis and disinformation. Misinformation and disinformation. The fake news term, like I said, exploded as an attack on Trump, really, because the Trump supporters were putting out information, and it was basically, this fake news term was a false scapegoat from the purveyors of actual fake news to blame for Trump's being elected. Because they think, the people who voted for Trump are so stupid that they can't tell the difference between real news and fake news. That's how they felt. These idiot voters didn't know what liberal so-called journalists know, that Trump is mentally ill and a narcissist. Not. MSNBC's Andy Lack, I told you guys in Hake News yesterday, I think it was either the end of the first hour or the end of the second hour, right? Those are the only times I do Hake News on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Yesterday, I read this about it. Andy Lack. He Jewish. Andy Lack is the top guy at MSNBC and NBC, like the CEO or something dumb, right? And he used to be a producer for CBS, Bloomberg, Sony Music, media guy, right? 72 years old. On to his second wife. Separated from her as of last year. But anyways, he said journalism is under attack. This guy, liberal guy, Andy Lack, Trump hater, no doubt. And yes, he's right. Journalism is under attack, but it's under attack by so-called journalists, MSM, mainstream media journalists like him. The free press is under attack by the establishment press. The establishment press claims that Trump is the one attacking the free press. No, the establishment press is attacking the free press. They like to suppress you guys. A lot of you guys that get banned. And us, they call us hate speech, right? Jesse Lee Peterson, anyway. They don't know about me yet. Fake news is a problem. But Trump is right. They're the ones who are fake news. He's like, you are fake news. And CNN, very fake news. Classic commie tactics, right? Communist tactics. It's out of the Socialist Rules for Radicals playbook, I think. Something like that. Accuse others of what you're doing. So, and another thing, these socialists, right? Not the good kind. Some of you guys think socialism can be good. They want you poor. I was thinking about this because this Hoaxed documentary covers what the mainstream, those in power, right, and so-called power, worldly power, did to Alex Jones in InfoWars. And they've continued to do to him, right? Alex Jones was saying what they did to him. He described it as them saying, in effect, go to the gulag, shut up, and let us have our power, basically, right? Oh, that feels good. The AC's on. Nice. So him saying that and thinking about what they did to him, demonetizing 90% of his videos before finally kicking him off of YouTube entirely and all that stuff, and banning him from buying Google ads and all that stuff, made me think of this. They want you and us and everybody poor and desperate. Not so poor, but poor and desperate, right? So that they can destroy us by demonetization, getting you fired if they can dox you, because they love doxing you, right? Remember that guy that did the CNN meme when Donald Trump, back when he was in WWE or WWF, World Wrestling, Pro Wrestling, he body slammed a guy. They put CNN's logo on the guy's head. They body slammed CNN. They doxed the guy. They privately doxed him and reserved the right to put his name and information out if he does it again, right? That's how they have control over you, if they can take away your livelihood, right? That's why socialists love poverty. And I know some of you guys are cringing because some of you guys like socialism. But anyways, they also love angry people. And that reminds me of what Jesse said when he said that when Jesse Lee Peterson used to be a union organizer, and he knew to go for the angry workers. So he would go for, no, I'm just kidding. I was going to say he would go after Joel, but Joel is probably the least angry of the workers, and try to target them to say, hey, you're an angry, disgruntled worker. Worker is a buzzword, right? Well, you need to unionize, and unionize is another buzzword. And I know some of you guys like unions, right? Okay, but unions have become a tool of communism, just like this COVID-19 is a tool of communism. And everything, diversity is a tool of communism. They thrive on anger. Listen to this. The socialists, or the evil people, let's say. Let's leave it as that. Evil people. They love the angry people. Fake love, right? They thrive on anger, envy. Oh, the rich people have all the money. Covetousness, theft, which is stealing the money and redistributing it. Murder, abortion, and eventually maybe killing people. Sexual immorality. Sexual immorality, all kinds of sexual immorality all over the place. Homosexuality, sex before marriage, and some of the people on the right are accepting a lot of this stuff, including sex outside of wedlock and pornography and all that stuff. Godlessness, like atheism and all that mess. And there are some less insane atheists who follow my show. Lies, smears, bearing false witness against their neighbor. they smear Trump so bad, and they smear a lot of, like, half of Trump supporters as deplorable racists, basically breaking all the 10 commandments I just named off. Anger, envy, strife, covetousness, theft, murder, sexual immorality, lies and smears, not having God before all other gods, right? Interesting. Breaking the 10 commandments. So, like, freedom and prosperity, I gotta finish this, means that they can't control us. If we have, like, the spirit of freedom, we're free. They can't shut us up. They can't break us financially, spiritually, or physically. Morality means that they're not our God. So, but their mama, desperate for that control, imposed herself on the husband and children, on Trump, on the the last decent Republicans, who may be a few in there. This is why they somebody in that documentary made mention of this word called blank you money. F-U money, right? Sorry, kids. Sorry. Bad example, right? But it's a term. Blank you money. That's when you have enough money that you can afford to do what you want and not worry about the backlash, because even if you get so-called fired or you lose sponsorships, you still got money. They can't break you. Jesse Lee Peterson once or maybe twice had a biblical question of the week: are you a millionaire? And most of us who are fairly comfortable in life, right, are like, I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't care that much about money. But if you think about it, we're, like, controlled by money. People are controlled by money. Think about the things that you don't do because you can't afford it or it's irresponsible with the money. But if you had the money to spare, you might do it. The things you might support had you had that spare money. So the poor are as controlled by greed and money and love of money as the so-called rich, if not more so, honestly. Some people look at the rich, oh, they're controlled by money. Meanwhile, they don't realize they're not looking at themselves being controlled by money, but they are. So it's pretty deep. There's a proverb in the Bible, I think it goes, asks God, let me be not so poor that I be tempted to steal, or something like that, and not so rich that I forget about God. Something like that. So it's good to be wise. That's a part of being a man, right? Anyways, that's my review of Hoaxed. I think I give it an A. I don't like to grade stuff, but I do recommend it. It's a good movie, good documentary. So you could get it on Apple. I got it on the Apple thing. I think it's available other places. Hoaxedmovie.com. There's my plug. I recommend it. Maybe we'll have Cernovich on sometime soon. So let me get to Paramedic out of Florida. Hey, Paramedic, good to hear from you.
Hey, how are you?
Doing fine. How are you?
Fine. I just had a quick comment. I heard you talk about socialism or something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't, with all this stimulus package that Trump passed, I mean, didn't he out-socialize the socialists? Like Bernie or Hillary could have never printed, and this is just the first round.
Yeah, I don't know. He might be doing that. I can't say for sure, because if you think about it, like the way that Jesse has looked at it so far is he's giving our tax money back to us. That's our money, because you probably have given the government more than $1,000, $1,200 or whatever. But he may well be doing that, and look at the people that he has to work with to make deals with. And when you make deals, you make concessions that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily do. And maybe he does have a socialist bone in his body. I don't know.
That's what
maybe
I think too. He had to deal with the whole cast of the usual suspects.
Right, and they want to do worse than him.
I'm talking about, like, bailing out the airline.
Yeah.
All of that's what I mean by.
Yeah. Good point.
Care about giving $1,200.
That's a great point.
People know. Yeah, like that $1,200 they got. Meanwhile, they just made the budget. Every American now owes $18,000 more dollars
Yeah.
to the deficit or whatever. Like all the big
The
power
bailouts.
money players.
I
Yeah,
know.
the bailout is the socialism.
That's an
Like-
interesting point, man. Yeah. I
And
don't know
if-
what the answer is.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to make excuses if he's wrong, and I don't want to say that he's wrong because I don't know. But
Yeah,
it's
and also
I don't know
too,
much about this stuff.
Another
Yeah.
cool documentary you should check out is called The Lobby. I don't know if you've heard about it,
Okay.
but it's banned.
All right.
In the there was one in the United States too, but it's interesting, the stuff in it. But
Appreciate
I got to
that
get
tip.
back to work, Hake.
Thank you, paramedic. Good to hear from
Hey,
you, man.
thanks, bro.
Take care.
Late.
So, a Minnesota rascal on a mixer. Nice. Real quick before I get back to calls, Dark Side of the Bear. What says right-wing people get banned a lot? Never too many PFS. Not sure what that means, but yeah. Floshinsky gave a diamond, said nonprofit is a tax status, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that's true. So, you know what? Let me get to Donning Armour out of California. Donning Armour, good to hear from you. What's up?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Doing fine. How are you?
Wonderful. I wanted to call in response to it happened a while back, but I asked you what was more likely: that everybody converts to Christianity in the way that in Jesse Lee Peterson style,
Right.
or if we separate based on race, ethnicity. And you said that they're both pipe dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
But
See,
pipe dreams don't mean that they won't happen. But I mean, I think I mean for sure, according to the Bible, most people are not going to accept Christianity, especially not the real kind. So that one is for sure a pipe dream. As far as separating by the races, I guess that may be more likely then in that case.
okay, so then I completely agree. I was going to say I don't believe in God. I've said this before, but
Right.
if I did believe in God, I would think separating based on ethnicity would be the most reasonable solution. Simply, I mean, God must be sitting up there thinking, I color coordinated you. You know what I mean? I made it easy for you to separate. And we're all distinct groups of people. And I think I agree more with Earl and T and those other kind of crazy sounding guys rather than Jesse Lee Peterson, because they fight
Regarding
for
what?
their black identity.
Regarding what?
Well, they fight for their black identity, and they don't want to live by white standards, and nor should they have to. I just think that groups of people, they do better amongst their own. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be with your own people and wanting others to be with their own people. And if you want to mix and you want a multicultural society, well, God bless you. Go have fun. But it comes with a lot of baggage, and
Right.
it comes with some really awful things. So I just think that the answer is obvious. Certainly people should, if they want to, they should be able to have a community or their own people to belong amongst themselves and live freely as their own distinct group. I just think that that's normal. A lot of people call me a Nazi for it, though. I don't get it.
Because you're white. So, I mean, I think that's only part of the solution, man. Because you can say yes, allowing people to separate. Or I don't know, maybe forced separation. I don't know what you would be for, but allowing the people to separate amongst.
Just for the record, voluntary separation. I don't.
Okay.
I try to move away from enforcement of any kind as much as I can. So.
Yeah, that's a great aspect of part of the solution, right? Is allowing that to happen and not having these rules where we're bringing in, all these POCs.
So aside from not forcing multiculturalism down everyone's throat, what is the other part of the solution, or parts of the solution?
I think the huge one. I think Jesse has this one down pat, and I don't think that you would disagree. And I'll get to what you said about Earl and T versus Jesse in a sec, too. But rebuilding men. If men think like men again, they won't be falling for this female thinking diversity crap. Have you noticed that? Like when men think like men, of any race really, they're not falling for that stuff. And then they're basing stuff on what's right. And what's right is I think what's right is pretty much universal.
Without a doubt, I agree that women seem to be more susceptible to this multiculturalism nonsense and, mixing around. They certainly seem to be more vulnerable to the propaganda and stuff that comes about.
And men who think like women.
And yes, certainly men that think like women.
Yeah.
Beta males, yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So that's why I think the men, Jesse's focus on rebuilding men, or on men returning to God, even though you don't believe in God, right? Is that's by far the biggest thing. Then the right political steps. Oh no. Am I back on? Then the right political steps will happen naturally, I think. Oh, let me get to this thing which you said about what you agree more with T and Earl.
Yes.
About, because Jesse identifies with what's right, with God, right? With his father, his like true father, right? Christianity. Who's happier? T and Earl or Jesse?
I think. Well, you know what? I don't know T or Earl, but if I was a betting man, I'd say Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, I would bet so too. And you can call Jesse's adoption of Christianity and Americanism a white thing, and you wouldn't be exactly wrong, really. But he hasn't lost his identity. He hasn't lost his true identity, and even though he is like supporting the white people and standing for what's right, not for what's black. He's based in reality. I don't see what you could disagree with him about.
I certainly wouldn't say that Jesse Lee Peterson has no identity. He identifies as a born-again Christian, I gather.
Uh-huh.
So he does have some sense of identity. I just think that race is, it's easier to get behind. It's easier to identify with your people than it is to identify with one religion or another.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's my take on it. But
race is important
to hear,
in this life.
I'm sorry.
I said race is important in this life. It's just not. It's not important in the ways that people make it important, oftentimes. And I can't really explain that. I can't.
There is.
I can't really even explain it. What I mean by that, right now, because pressed for time. But people.
No, that's okay. Well, I'll hold back.
But this, for example, this shallow stuff about these dummies wanting to elect a woman, like this dumb Joe Biden wants to have a woman vice president, or a black female in the Supreme Court, another female of color in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That's a shallow type of identity politics.
Pathetic.
It's a false identity.
It's pandering to the black vote.
Yeah.
What is this, a criteria? We need a black woman that's the criteria to be the vice president of the United States. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
It kind of grosses me out that we're in this situation to be. Anyway, well, I'll let you go. I do appreciate.
Thanks for following up. Did I address? I feel like I addressed your question that the following show, like that Monday or Sunday or something. But
you did. That's why I was calling back.
I'm glad that you did.
touch base with you.
It's nice. Thanks for following up. All right, Donning Armour, take care, man. Good to hear from you.
You as well, sir.
So, Hot Computer Smell gave a diamond and says, excellent show, Hake. We are going to open the treasure chest on D Live now. And should I wait for the thing, or are you able to play the drop? No? Okay. He's going to do it, I think. The computer crashed. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Something happened. There it is. We're opening the treasure chest, guys. What a mess. So, yeah. I think that there is an absolute right and wrong. And it's not about, like I've asked this friend who said, I asked Netanyahu, good man or evil man? Or another friend, another question. Shinzo Abe, right? I don't know much about him. Japan guy in charge of Japan. Good or evil? And he says he's good for his country. But what I want to know is that are they a decent people? Are they like good, solid leaders? And maybe they are good for their country, and maybe they are good, but I don't know. But I think that there is what's right is what we should go for, and not what's just beneficial in the short and seemingly beneficial in the short term for whatever race or gender or whatever. Because, for example, the Catholic Church, I heard that the Catholic Church, think what you want about the Nazis, right? The Catholic Church were helping the Nazis and other groups, right? And the Catholic Church were desperate because they wanted, this is what I read in Bill O'Reilly's book, right? So take it for what it's worth, but they were, you see it today in reality, right? You see not just the Catholic Church, but the so-called Protestant churches kissing up to and trying to be so-called inclusive and bring people into Christianity because people are leaving. People are becoming more and more secular. 100 years ago, this donning armor guy, or 200 years ago anyway, probably would have been a Christian, right? Because he would have been raised Christian, but he was raised secular. And the culture and parents are raising secular. And so there's this false thing, we need to bring in more Christians. Rather than, we need to stand on what's right and let the people come or stay away. That's what we need to do, I think. Stand on what's right. Don't try to be popular. Don't try to hook up with people just because they're hating your enemy. The enemy of your enemy may not be your friend. For example, like Louis Farrakhan, because he's full of hate, right? But he criticizes the Jews, so people call him based. But he's not your friend. And he's not even blacks' friends. He's not even blacks' friend. He's a hater. He hates blacks. So, let me read these. Congratulations to the luckiest followers. Dark Side of the Bear, what? Follow her on D-Live. I'll be going on there. I know Asmodor's been on there, and many of you guys. Shaggy Boy. Take Care Business Bear. Asmodor. Garand Bear, who has an M1 Garand, which is made by John C. Garand. Floshinsky, good job, guys. And Ludwig von Neon, thank you. And Hot Computer Smell and Asmodor, thank you guys for the support. Floshinsky, Kid Combo 187, Murder. Dark Side of the Bear, what? Beard the Butcher. Zona Bologna, Shaggy Boy, D-Wise, appreciate you guys. And Danny gave a super chat on YouTube. It says, God is in control, not the so-called controllers. Yeah, that's true. Lin Yun Chin says, donning armor, he spelled it D-A-W-N. Oh, come on. He's donning armor, meaning he's putting it on. Might be old and not so bright, but he is right. He's not that old, he's just Gen X. Homogeneous states are cultivated stairs. Seems to want white survival and prosperity. Yeah, I appreciate donning armor. He has an interesting outlook and a good attitude, I think. All right, guys, we will see you on, it is Wednesday, right? So I'm going to try to put out a Bond Sunday service from 2009. Try to do a premiere around maybe like 5 p.m. before White Wednesday. As it were. And all that stuff. Make sure you're subscribed to the Hake Report on all the channels. Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel will be the Sunday service. And after that, maybe we stream it on the Bond Rebuilding the Man Facebook page too, guys. All right. We will see ya. Take care.